What is emergency fund? How much do you spend every month on bills? I'm talking about house rent, car payments, food, and everything else. Is it $5,000, $6,000, or maybe $10,000? Let's say your monthly expense is $5,000. $5,000 times 6 equals $30,000. If you have $30,000 sitting in your bank account, congratulations, you've got an emergency fund. That's 6 months of living expenses. Why does that matter? Imagine losing your job tomorrow. Could you survive 6 months without any income? You can't even think about that, right? That's why an emergency fund is very important. In this video, I'm going to share 3 reasons why you need one, and I'll also give you some practical tips on how to build one fast. Ready to learn more? Let's dive in. The first reason you need an emergency fund is for a layoff. Layoffs can happen for many reasons. If a company isn't making enough money, it may cut jobs to save costs. If your role costs more than the value you bring, you could be let go. Companies could also replace you with AI and automation at any time. They might be working on that behind your back while you're having fun. Even profitable companies sometimes do layoffs. In 2025, Microsoft laid off over 15,000 employees around the globe, even though they were making good profit and growing year by year. They also laid off 10,000 people in 2023. The reason behind the layoffs was that they were investing more in AI infrastructure rather than investing in people. It's not just Microsoft, it's companies all over the world. So, job security is never 100% guaranteed. If you are currently working under any company, always keep that in mind. You might get laid off at any time, any moment. So don't get comfortable if you are constantly receiving some good paychecks. Most companies actually don't care about you. They only care about their growth and their future. If you are a hindrance to their growth, they might cut you out. I've seen countless examples of this, and they always think about how to spend their money in the most effective way possible. They see you as a tool, a system, not as a human. If they find you are not the most effective tool they could use, they kick you out. So, the Titanic that you are traveling on right now, the captain might throw you out at any time. Always keep that in mind. So if you had an emergency fund as backup, you wouldn't have to panic about a sudden layoff because you've got backup for 6 months. Life is complicated, unpredictable, fragile. Anything could happen at any time. You might have a medical emergency like a simple fracture, kidney stone, asthma attack. Who knows what could happen to our body? A simple ER visit or other medical costs could run into thousands of dollars, even if you have insurance. If you had an emergency fund, it could really give you a hand in those difficult times. Other unexpected expenses could be car repairs, like transmission failure, brake system repairs, or steering failures. Those kinds of repairs are also unexpected and could happen at any time to anyone. If you live in the US, you know how important a car is, and car repairs could easily cost you thousands of dollars. Again, if you had an emergency fund, it would be really helpful. Another unexpected expense I would cover is house-related repairs, like AC failure in summer, heater failure in winter, or toilet-related plumbing failures. If you live in an area where storms occur often, they could damage your roof and cause leaks. These kinds of expenses are unavoidable and could also cost you thousands of dollars. They could happen at any time to anyone. Again, having an emergency fund would really be helpful in those times. Also, with an emergency fund, you don't have to rely on high-interest debt or ask your loved ones for help during tough times. I know I've talked a lot about negative situations so far, but an emergency fund isn't only for bad scenarios, it's also useful in good ones. For example, if you want to switch careers or start a new business, an emergency fund can be a real advantage. If you want to start a business, developing a successful product or service could take 1 to 2 years. So, if you've saved enough to cover 1 to 2 years of living expenses, you could quit your job and fully focus on building your business. Even if you're planning to switch jobs, your emergency fund can give you the confidence and security to make that move. That's why building an emergency fund isn't just protection, it's freedom. I hope now you have some solid reasons to build an emergency fund. I hope I've convinced you about the importance of it. Now, I'm going to give you some tips on how to build one. First, decide on a target amount. You need to set a specific goal. Do you want an emergency fund that covers 3 months of expenses or 6 months? How much would make you feel comfortable? Then just start simple. Just start. Keep your emergency fund in a separate account. Open one just for this purpose. This way, you won't mix it with your daily spending money. And take it seriously. Don't touch it unless it's a real emergency, like a job loss or unexpected medical expense. Staying disciplined is very important here. Pretend that money doesn't even exist until you really need it. If you have any unnecessary subscription services, cut them and funnel that money into your emergency account. If you receive bonuses from your company, send them straight to your emergency fund. That's how you do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.